I like that.
What's up, people? This is I'm Brandon here, Nexxlegacy Radio Unscripted. Hey, I got my cast of characters and people here. Appreciate the fact that we was trying to do something a little different yesterday. So whoever got that chopped up one, I already deleted it. So fuck it. It is what it is. But we got we got something to discuss, talk about everything. Like, subscribe, do what you need to do. Get that chat room thing lit. And welcome to all my people that is not only subscribers but members. Appreciate it off top. So, um, ladies and gentlemen, like as we get ready to discuss stuff that's confidential, like I had a chance to like marinate and think on some things too, a little different than yesterday. But I mean, I still had the same scene that I'm put in, as well as some of the little text messages that we could talk about. But also like y'all's experience with what you're seeing right now, because certain parties is downplaying the severity of what this is. So we need to address it. And not only that, put it out there where if people are downplaying it, then why is it even confidential then, if that's the case? Like, there's so many things to uncover and unpack, but I feel like we could get started. Right at the top, we have BMO, we have deniasyour.com, we have V for Vegas, we have Mr. Incense here, and all you people out there that's listening. And like I said, I do have that chat thing ready to go in case somebody has some comments or want to say something. We could literally put it live right here, smack dab where you see it. So we will never miss a comment. Anything y'all want to say, put out there, we will do so ASAP. So getting it started is pretty simple. Like, I just feel like we heard it yesterday, but let's just hear from C-SPAN and the meetings that took place yesterday.
Release of classified information is a violation of the law and will be treated as such. So if this information is classified, what are you going to do?
Senator, 2 points here. First of all, there's a difference between inadvertent release versus
careless and sloppy,
malicious leaks of classified information. The second point is there was no classified information that was on
the
information
committee should get that information. And I think the White House has acknowledged that the text chain that he submitted was authentic.
I'll start with Ms. Gabbard. In the signal chain that we have been talking about, was there any mention of a target in Yemen?
I don't remember mention of specific targets.
Any generic target?
I believe there was discussion around targets in general.
Mr. Ratcliffe.
I think that's consistent with my recollection. Again, I don't have access to that.
Was there any mention, Ms. Gabbard, of a weapon or weapons system?
I don't recall specific weapons systems being named.
So you hear that, and you hear other that took place and was on or today actually, where again, like I said earlier, people were downplaying it that what did this current president say? It's a witch hunt. Other people have said that this doesn't mean nothing. This doesn't. But I mean, what do y'all think? I mean, it doesn't matter who starts, but actually let's start at the top. BMO then. What do you do, and everybody else can chime in, because right now at this point in time, you can have anything that's supposed to be on the confidential server and just blast it out there to everybody. War plans, where we're gonna bomb, do this, that, whatever. What the fuck is going on, BMO?
Well, the first thing I want to address is that hearing. Okay, the first thing, she blatantly lied. This is put that out there. First thing that right. The first thing she said, that the first hearing she said that she didn't know she was participating in the chat at all. Right. Then after one of the panelists, and God knows I forgot his name, he admitted that he was on the chat. Then she started piggybacking off of him to kind of slowly release details.
To my
Ratcliffe, exactly. Started
the
right,
CIA
director. Then she started admitting that she was in the chat. So when I think about that, at its root, at its base, she's coming from a point where she is disingenuous about the facts. She's not articulating the facts as her role in the security community, and I believe that should be addressed. So I don't believe anything she says off the jump, because she came off with false information, lies, bullshit is what I want to call it. And all of us, most of us on this panel have had security clearances. And most of them on this panel know what she said compared to layman is totally inaccurate. So I just want to start from there because that's what's irking me the most is she came through the gate and lied to a committee and told the world on national TV that she wasn't a part of the chat. She couldn't remember she was on there, and then she did. Then she couldn't remember if there were weapons. They were talking about weapons or they were talking about airstrikes, and then it was more or less a string along of the facts instead of being truthful. And you know, your job is to protect us, not to protect yourself. You should have just admitted what you did wrong. You know.
So
I'm just
V,
saying.
so V, I'm gonna throw you in. If you know, add your comments onto it as well. But also, if that was you, if you had clearance like that and you just sent random text messages to a journalist like myself, I feel like you would probably be fired, right?
I'd be in a shitload of trouble. But I got a question because I've been hearing, unless somebody misspoke, did we just say it was confidential information?
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
she was lying. That's what I'm saying. If he plays a little later on, she was lying the whole time. She said there was
But
no
hold
classified
on.
information.
My opinion changes if it was confidential because there's levels. Top secret is much higher than confidential. Confidential is
Right.
like something that could be shit no more than who actually works in the office.
She
Well,
just said,
But I
there.
would imagine that
yeah,
military strikes would be way higher than. I would even imagine that'd be
right,
top
right,
secret.
V,
Right. And
V.
comment.
Like I said, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But like I said,
Oh no, I
so
go ahead.
before I comment, did we speak? Because if it's confidential information, that isn't a big deal. Ain't nobody gonna lose no job on nothing's
No,
confidential.
so what they said, because I pretty much watched most of the whole hearing.
I thought
I
it was
hope
top secret.
I hope you got the part that when them congressmen were calling them her, Tulsi Gabbard and Radcliffe, they said you lying, you just straight up lying. I said finally
They
somebody
were.
damn
Yeah,
give it to
yeah,
them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, basically they're saying it was sensitive information, but
That's
um,
even that's even sensitive ain't gonna get you nothing either. Confidential and sensitive, I can see
But
that because sensitive information. But like I said, listen to what it
but
was
she lied every.
supposed to be.
She kept lying.
But it was
She
supposed
kept
to
see,
lying.
be a military strike. I
but
would
Right.
yeah,
imagine
exactly,
that's
V.
way more classified. Now, like I said, what they doing like that, if it's confidential or sensitive information, nobody's gonna lose their job. Not especially not that level. Hell no. You get in
Well,
trouble in our
well,
level, but you're not gonna lose your
right.
job.
It
I,
wasn't
I
that
want to say two
situation though.
things here.
Dude,
I want to say
this
two
dude
things
put.
here, real quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead, V.
All right. The first thing is when Tulsi was approached, she first lied that she could not remember the conversation. The second thing was it went from "oh I remember" to it's not secret, it's confidential, and then it went to something like, "well, we didn't say anything about locations, but you were talking about weapons and you were talking about strike times." Oh yeah, they say they weren't talking about that stuff, and then it came out and they were proven to be lying about that. So what I see here is them arbitrarily classifying the conversation in a way that they feel will not get them in trouble. When people in the national security community, the intelligence community, experts have said that that information will be at minimum classified as secret, at a
Mm-hmm.
minimum.
Minimum.
Military
And I think
times.
that is like I said, I think it's much higher than that. I
Yeah.
don't know
Two.
Right.
what military
Yeah.
strike on a country would be, but I'm sure that better not leave out of nobody's mouth.
Right.
Dude,
And
he put the times that the bombs was gonna drop, bro. You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. There you go. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, now that's something totally different. Like I said, but confidential and secret information ain't gonna get nobody, especially not that at that level, fired.
Yeah.
Can you scroll
Reprimanded.
up? Can
I'm
you
sure of
scroll
it,
up some?
but nothing more
I'm
than
gonna let
that.
you scroll.
Now
Yeah.
that's one of the parts that I cut. But I mean, everybody in that chain, and I thought this, like anytime that you use a company or government's, you know, server, laptop, whatever, there's certain things you can and can't do on it. Same thing with a phone, whatever device that you have. Like if you are doing threads like this, and then you send it to like a random reporter, like someone out of the blue, someone, to me, I don't know. Y'all had clearance before, so y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but before you hit send or before you do anything of that sort, you know what? Let me make sure it's going to the right kind of people before I hit send.
Email wouldn't even be a form like when I was in. I've never seen anything via email that was classified.
Yeah.
Ever. Everything
Yeah.
I've done was always done on secure stuff. So there's nothing I
Exactly.
could have. I actually, and I couldn't. And we were, and like I said, I'm sure that the rules are different for people. I'm sure that they got to transport stuff. But in our office, you couldn't even take nothing classified out that room.
Hmm.
Period.
Out the that's
Building
when I
out the
first
room.
seen that thing about Hillary and even with Trump when he was taking the documents home and all
Yeah,
kind of stuff. I'm just like,
Yeah,
man,
Right.
because the only
all
way
the
they would
stuff
be
that
able to
we've
take
been
it
taught,
home,
dude, that they would put us under the jail and
you
stuff
would have
like
to
that
have
for the stuff
a
that they
something
did.
that was classified at your house to keep it secure. If you're going to do that, it would have to still even like I don't know. I'm pretty sure that there's classified information that has to be transported with people. So I'm
Yeah,
sure that they got a protocol for that,
Yeah,
and I'm sure
and
that
there
it's
is a
not a
protocol
yeah.
for that.
I remember.
yeah,
There
yeah.
is.
right,
And they're called
right.
couriers because we used to have to do it when I was doing because when I was the personnel security manager here, you know and I used to process people's security clearances. I used to go to all the classes in DC and VA, and I'd be in the classes with CIA, NSA, everybody be in them damn classes, man. And they were private security classes too.
Oh,
Crazy,
oh
huh?
yeah. Did you mention VA, Hanif, in this instance?
Yeah, Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. Okay, okay, okay. I'll tell you this. I was just reading that there was a previous incident for an employee who accidentally added a reporter onto a
Mm,
email stream. Right. I don't know if you heard
I
about this
heard.
one.
Yep,
Yep.
I
Yeah.
heard about that.
The the reporter immediately notified the journalist to, hey, I added you on accident. Can you please not publish anything because this was a mistake? The journalist agreed and didn't do anything. She went up to her chain of command and pretty much told them like, hey, I inadvertently added this person onto our chain. She got sensitive information. I've already spoken with that person. They're not going to release anything. Here is the information about the individual. And later on down the line, after Trump decided that he wasn't deporting people enough, because I think it was the Department of Homeland Security, then they were talking about firing people or finding people to blame. She's at risk of losing her security clearance altogether for
Hmm.
inadvertently adding somebody to a email chain or text chain that did not even leak to the public.
Yeah,
Make that
that
make
depends
sense.
on that email. But it depends on what was in that email.
Yeah, but the thing is it was about I believe ICE raids or DOD looking for more illegals,
Yeah, it was
and
about the
and
ice.
that and that had nothing to do with striking countries and armies, right?
Right, right.
But
But that also,
hey,
but that endangers the shit out of the personnel because if that got out, they know when they striking, so that would actually put them in a line of fire. I can see how serious that is.
Okay,
exactly.
there's another part I want to talk about on the that Pete Hegseth put out on this forum, but you can't see it or whatever.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
says he says Operation Security or OPSEC, which stands for Operation Security, is
Right.
clear.
Right. But
That's
even,
it.
but even this, like, and I get it. And V, you made a valid point about confidential and what's top secret or something like that. But this was sent to someone who's not even in that realm. It was sent to a journalist. So if it's just sent to
Right.
a random journalist who has
But
no clearance whatsoever, you got to think on it on this side too. If he was really bold or bad, now he could have went to jail for leaking these type of secrets as well, but he chose not to. Instead, he put it out redacted as far as, hey, this was sent to me on accident. I think y'all need to put a pause on this or whatever the case may be. But
Mm-hmm.
everywhere you look, none of it doesn't seem right. So everybody that's on that chain, correct me if I'm wrong, should be fired today and possibly
I
put it.
agree.
and check this out, V. So I know you brought up, confidential, right? So
Mhm.
if you hear her talking, I mean, she says, like I said, she lies a lot, but she says later on, she says there is no classified information. But people don't realize confidential, top secret, secret, those are just different classifications, but that is classified material. But that's the name of what
Right.
is classified.
That's true.
That's true. That's
So
You
true.
put any one of us in that situation where that was done, or if you got a chain of all of us who did that and started sharing these kind of secrets and it leaked to somebody, we're all going to jail. Clearly,
Exactly.
but we're all
Even
going to
if you
jail
go to jail,
right
you would
now
definitely lose your position or lose your rank.
for sure.
At,
For
at
sure.
minimum, at a minimum, you will lose stripes or
Yeah,
bars.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or bars. Even I've been out of the military for maybe 12 years. Well, I'll just back up. There are things that I knew that were not public, and I had to wait over a decade until it became public information to even talk about it.
Mhm.
And I was told, if you say anything that this thing exists, you're going to jail. You're going to get court-martialed. And if you say anything in your civilian life, you are going to jail. So
Yep.
what I don't understand, and you know, I used to be a information security administrator and information security officer. We can talk about software and the chat thing in a little bit, but I know for a fact if I was talking about striking another country where the missiles were going to hit preemptively, then brag about it to friends on an unauthorized app that was listed as vulnerable by the NSA less than 2 months prior, we will all be locked up.
It's crazy because
But they
Signal
can,
was supposed to be the app that you couldn't, that wasn't compromised. That's what everybody's on.
yeah, and they said it was compromised. And even that, experts say even though the transmission is encrypted, if somebody hacks your phone, they can read the screen and read the app. And I'm
And one of
telling
them
you,
dudes, oh boy, was one of them dudes was in Russia.
he,
He was
at
in
that
Russia,
point,
and Tulsi Gabbard was overseas. They didn't say
she was
where
in
she
Asia.
was, but she was overseas
I
too.
Yeah,
got a question. I got a question
Hmm.
real quick, a little bit off topic with that, but it's about
go
the
ahead.
Russians since you brought them up. Because it's a whole bunch of people that are usually all this, that, and the other, and he's with this, that, and the other with the Russians. I've said it before, and I'm gonna ask this question again. What was it about Putin that he did that made you say, "Oh my God, this dude's a monster. We got to get rid of him"? What was that thing?
Hmm.
Mm. Crimea for
Anybody?
me. When he invaded.
I can tell you
Go ahead.
what I've heard.
Tell me what,
Of
because
course,
like I said, he's the enemy of the state. Tell me what you
I,
know that made you go,
hey,
"Damn, he's
I,
it's
I
not.
he's a he's a
I have a
evil
short
guy. We
list.
got to get rid of
I have a short list. When he invaded
him."
Crimea, when he invaded Ukraine, when he tried to assassinate his political opponents in England with the umbrella and putting the poison in his leg, when he did that, um, when he tried to steal resources in I believe in Georgia, the oligarchy is shit. They have the GDP equal to California. You know,
You
there
don't
is a
believe that.
lot
Hold
of
on, hold on, hold on,
there's
hold
a
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I got to stop you there. You don't
go
believe
ahead, go
that.
ahead.
You don't believe
I
that they got
believe
the
it.
GDP of California.
I
Shit.
believe it. The
Shit.
Russian
That
economy
is
is shit.
that it is it's us, them, and China is the three world powers. You can't believe that.
I believe it. I honestly believe because I remember when I was in the military and the military was so fucking poor that they were raising fucking chickens on base for food.
I'm gonna put it to you like this.
I'm
I'm put it to you.
I'm
I'm
saying
gonna put it to you like this.
I seen the clips with the soldiers with the fucking
I,
chickens.
I'm
They
gonna
had
tell you like this. I'm gonna tell you like this. I can name two third world countries right now that paid off their national debt like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. And they both them countries borrowed from this country.
if
So
they borrow,
okay,
there's chance of resources. How big is the country? How big is the GDP in the country?
Burkina Faso they paid off
America
their
is a
national.
very
They
wealthy
paid off their
country.
national. Hold on, that
Go ahead.
Burkina Faso paid off their national debt, which was about 4 something billion or something like that. They don't owe nobody nothing, and they've actually been buying weapons from Russia and Turkey or whatever like that. The money that these countries really be having to be ridiculous. Like most of the third world countries in Africa could be not third world countries overnight.
Well, a lot of them are dictatorships and oligarchies. So, you know, ain't the fact that they ain't got the money. The fact is who has the money, who's controlling the
What
economy.
what is
You know,
used to do?
and
They
that's the
got the
main.
money.
You could have a lot of money, but just like the 1% in the United States, you know, you can fit them in a ballroom. The 1%, and they have half of this country's wealth that can fit in one ballroom. But the thing
Right.
is if you're not circulating those resources throughout the economy, nobody's getting paid. Nobody. There is
I
no
agree with
growth.
that. You think that's just negligence, or is that by force?
That's
I
by
think that's by
force.
force. That's by
Yeah.
force.
I
Remember
was
this.
about to
I'll
get
tell you
back
this
to
much. I got a
That's what I'm
point. I got a
saying.
point I want to
It's
give you.
not coincidence that 54 different countries have the exact same problem.
It's
That's not a
because
coincidence.
because a lot of the countries they work with oligarchies and they don't share the wealth with the rest of the body of the
That's every
population.
nation on planet. That's every nation
Well,
on the planet. Because I was going to ask you.
every nation to a degree. I mean, we
No,
suffer
no, no,
that
no,
from
no,
America.
no. I ain't no to the degree, because I was going to ask you, if you have a problem with Putin for those very reasons, then how do you feel about your own government? Because they're guilty of every last
Oh,
one of
dude.
those things.
Of course, but I'm gonna
Hey,
tell
you
you
ain't
this
said
much:
nothing but a word.
our own government doesn't control wealth at the top like Russia does, and you know, in our own government, we don't assassinate political opponents like that.
Yes, we
We
do. Yes, we
we
do.
not in
Yes, we
America.
do.
Come
Yes,
on
we
now,
do. Yes,
come
we
on now,
do.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Yes,
You
we
may
Wait
be
a minute.
talking
do.
about another
Hey, hold on,
country.
V. And I can tell
You
you
may be
too.
Man,
talking
and
about
damn near every
you.
goddamn political person we had in Africa was assassinated by the CIA.
No. I ain't talking about Africa. I'm talking about here, the United States.
He
That's
said in
in
America.
America. Of
Not in
course, I
In
America,
know about
man,
America.
Africa.
and
I know
and
about
that's amazing.
Haiti. You know, we know that they do that. We know that
We said
they've
he
taken
said the
Oh, in
everything
the
U.S.
in
U.S.,
South
yeah,
America and
okay.
Africa just about and destroyed it.
Yeah, they ain't.
We
Yeah,
filled them with our
because
dictators.
I remember.
We filled them with our leaders, and
Mhm.
they keep instability on purpose to maintain wealth, to
Well, let
maintain
me ask you.
America's
Let me
best
ask you.
interest. But
Let me
we're
ask
not
Hey,
you this.
let me
assassinating
tell
John
y'all something real
McCain.
quick.
We're not
Let me just ask you this.
assassinating Holly. We're not going after our own politicians. We're not.
Okay,
I'm just saying we're not. It's non-existent here yet.
I can.
Give it time
I'm
though.
about to
Let me tell y'all
say,
this real
ain't
quick.
Give
like
it
we ain't
time.
been in this. I mean, shit, JFK didn't get killed by fucking Iranians.
But we talking
Right.
about modern right now. We talking about right now.
I mean,
I can't. If
shit.
JFK got killed,
I mean, it's in
Robert
lifetimes.
Kennedy's
I mean,
dad
it
got
ain't that
killed.
much of
That's
a
true.
stretch. It's
It
not that
ain't
much
that
of a
much.
stretch. Is all I'm
It
saying.
ain't. You're right because of who's in charge and the power dynamic. Now we're seeing elements of of autocracy. We are seeing a takeover of our government. If you come to me right now, 2 years ago, and say that we wouldn't have this type of element like we would have in the third world countries, where I'm in fear of our politicians getting murdered, I would say no. Ask me today, I'm like, fuck yeah. It's a matter of
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
Let them take control of the courts.
Yeah.
Let them take control of local governments. Let them take control of state governments. They're
Yeah.
fighting to take the Wisconsin Supreme Court today. So they can just wake up, rub their hands together, just like they did to us in the civil rights era, and say, you know what? Take them out. And we're gonna act dumb. We're just so sorry. You people just ended up shot. What happened? That's why a
Collateral
lot
damage.
of
My
I,
thing is on that. Like I said, now those are okay. You one of the first people that even had at least something to argue about. But I will say on
I
that,
live in the real
how are
world, bro,
we so
like you.
sure? Let me ask you this: how are we so sure on who killed who in a foreign country?
We're
How are
not
we so
because
sure who did what if we
we
ain't
not.
involved in it?
We're not sure because we don't know to the extent. We can only judge what we know.
How will we even be able to
But all
figure?
of us
Like I
have.
said, this is like we talking about nations. I mean, it ain't
You're
that
right.
hard to cover some shit like that up, and they don't have to cover it up.
They don't, but they
They could
do.
say, "Yeah, I thought the motherfucker was doing this, and I whacked his ass for that shit, and I run shit over
Mhm.
here, and I did
Yeah,
that."
yeah.
They could actually come out and say that.
But I tell you this much because we all serve, right? And have you ever went TDY or you got deployed, right? When in
Mhm.
America, we don't know nothing. They're like it's top secret. I would get on the plane, they give me an envelope, and the envelope says that we're going to do this, that, and the other, right? And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm doing something major. I hit the ground where I'm at. The shit's on the news. Their version of CNN is public knowledge.
Right.
So how I feel is that what we know is that we are only privileged to certain information. And like you, we have to keep all options on the table, but we don't know to what degree. So when you come to me and say, "Hey,
see,
there's corruption," of course I believe there's corruption because
Ain't no.
America was built on empire.
hey,
I'm about to say,
hey, BMO, I'm glad you
we're
said
not
that,
killing our own,
because back
even if we're not killing our
to
own.
our security lesson.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
what was that?
I'm saying back to our security
Okay,
lesson.
yeah,
So,
we I love V, man. He make me work for it.
no, I'm
Nah,
saying no, I
but
love it too. So what I was trying to say is to educate the public, for the ones that like, man, all the security stuff, is over our heads. So, all right, even if you have a top secret with SEI, capability, you still have to have a need
Right.
to know. So just because I got a top secret clearance
Mm-hmm.
and I work in communications, don't mean I can go over to the intel side and they got to give me the same
Right.
access to the briefing,
Need.
because I got to have a
Right.
need to
You're
know.
right. So why would the Treasury Secretary need to know about airstrikes?
Hmm.
True.
but deeper than that, that whole chain, like, how did it get to the point where, I mean, and you saw what JD Vance put in there, like, to me, it's just like, when you have like a bunch of people on the phone and they're just gossiping and talking shit about people. I mean, the fact that, I just hate bailing out Europe, bailing Europe out again or whatever. Like, I mean, these side little conversations or whatever is weird to me. Like, it's not just that. Like, how did it get to here? Because to me, on anything that's everything. To me, I always feel like if you doing something or if you did something that you weren't supposed to do on a level like that, you should be gone. You should be gone. You should have been gone last week. But they're downplaying it. They're not serious. They're not taking this serious. They want us to just basically ignore it.
And
Why?
these billions that we got that are actually in these positions that don't really know. That's the reason why we shouldn't be firing a bunch of people in mass, because now you got something. Now you just got something that you rebuilding from scratch when it was already
That part.
protocols and forth. So to me, like I said, there's no. You could walk in today, but you shouldn't be able to. You can't expect it to know all this stuff day one. That's why it's got to be people that's already there. So always firing the people at the top and clearing the house the way we do, that doesn't even make sense.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But they should have restrictions now because of that leak or whatever it is. They should have something to, I don't care if it's a demotion or whatever the hell. Something should be, they should be taught an example, because to me, I think it's serious. Like, I feel like a lot of people from a lot of different countries is not going to take the United States serious based on little fuck ups like this, right? Or anything else going on. So, that's the way I look at it. But
You know what? I really don't think, unless you into politics like that, because everywhere I've been, I've watched TV, and they don't never have fucking American shit on it. Unless something happened like the 9/11 or something major happened, an earthquake or some shit like that. Ain't a goddamn thing on no country I've ever been
Well,
in
see,
where they
you
talk
got to
about
think,
nothing
V,
that was going on about
it's,
America.
it's different
Ever.
now because, now everybody's in touch within a second, because we got
It
all
may be
these,
different now, but I'm just saying, in general,
yeah,
even like everywhere I went, the only people that gave a shit about what was going on with Americans, the people that dealt with Americans, the people that the people living in the inner city in Turkey didn't give a fuck about what was going on in America, whether or not we had a crack epidemic or what they didn't give a shit. They didn't ask. They don't
right.
have
So
no idea.
times
They
change,
don't have no idea.
because now
Like we fought Afghanistan.
I would
I would
see.
bet my last dollar, 90% of them only know Americans by uniform. They wouldn't even know what the fuck we look like. We are not on their TV. I promise you.
Yeah,
Yeah, now, dude, it's totally different because everybody's got access now
I
within a second of a finger now. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So
Everybody don't
I
have,
see comments all
but
the
we're
time
assuming
when they're
everybody
commenting
got internet
on
like
our
that.
stuff.
Everybody don't have internet like that. That ain't true.
I,
It's
I
definitely
A
pockets of the
lot of
world
them
that
do.
have
I'll tell you a prime example,
huh?
V. I give you a prime example. When I was over there in Lima, Peru, and it's two classes. You either got it or you don't.
mhm.
Ain't no in between.
Right.
Ain't no middle class. Ain't none of that. The poorest people had cell phones before I even had a cell phone.
Right.
I didn't get a cell phone till I got
And that
back
is
to the
true.
States.
Because you can have
You know,
that type of
dude, this was early 2000.
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, dude, it's been almost 25 years. I guarantee you. And then another thing, when you go on social media, so they chime in on social media. I see people
I
from
understand that, but
Australia,
when you get,
all that, they chiming in and
but
commenting. So they're looking, they're seeing this
hold up.
stuff.
How often do you get some Yemenis uh shit pop up on your YouTube that's in Yemenis or whoever the top dude is in Africa or Singapore, whatever? He don't come up on our timelines, and it's gonna be
If you
the
got
same way over
if you
there.
got your Google on, remember, if you got your Google on, that shit popping up.
No, man.
And you
I
mention
was
it,
just today. I'm gonna tell you what I
ESPN.
was doing earlier today because it caught my interest. I had something that said the top 50 uh YouTube social media people, but it was in Africa. I didn't know none of the people. These people were huge. I didn't know none of them. So I said, well, let me see why he's so huge. The shit is in Egyptian. It's written in Egyptian. It's not coming on my timeline ever.
Mm.
But dude is huge over there.
I'm not saying all of it, but I'm telling you, stuff is popping through.
What? How
I could
much?
be
Let me
on,
ask you,
like,
how
matter
much
of fact,
stuff from
I
foreign
got my
countries
phone right
pop up
here,
on your
and I guarantee
on your
you just
feed?
said Yemen.
How much stuff from foreign countries pop up on your feeds in their foreign language?
Not much, if not at all. But I will tell you
Never
this.
on mine, and that's the same way for them.
I will tell you this. There's a level
They do
of
have access, but you got to go look
yeah.
for it.
There's a level of regulation that I feel like a lot of people have because they actually, the
Yes,
U.S. wants you to see a lot of U.S. shit,
yes,
right? They want you. They basically
Yes,
gauge it that way.
everybody's got their
Yeah, yeah,
propaganda.
right,
yeah.
right.
But even that, and even still, and I got you for this because to me, it's just like if I start looking for it, then it starts to come up. If I start looking for it, but
Yeah,
for the
Hmm.
most part, it is what it is as far as that. But I'm always seeing U.S. stuff, but that doesn't. With that being said, I always still feel like there is still a matter of regulation that a lot of these people are trying to have with media, not just YouTube and all these other places, but just in general, because this current administration is trying to eliminate NPR, BBC, some of these
and
other
some of
ones
these
that
other
have a
that's
non-biased approach to
policies.
how they
Well,
take things.
Right.
certain things ain't coming across, especially
Right,
political stuff from the West.
right,
Ain't none of that stuff coming across.
right. So what I think, y'all give me y'all opinion because you're starting to see it triculate down. I mean, it's all a part of Project 2025. If you read through it, you see exactly what they're trying to cherry pick to be able to eliminate, right? So media is one of them as well. So if they're trying to basically talk shit about NPR, BBC News, and MSNBC and want to shut them down and only like raise the bar with Fox News and some of this other shit that they're trying to basically do, like you see the balance that's trying to be able to shift to a different way. So a lot of
Right.
people are trying to tell you and feed you lies as opposed to trying to at least, you know what, hey, you don't have to believe what I say. There's another place over there where you can be able to get another facts. It's my story, it's your story, and then whatever's in the middle. They're trying to eliminate that, all a part of Project 2025, y'all, for real.
Yeah, I want to add something too because when we're talking about the media, I believe if I got it's either Hungary or Turkey. Whoever's the president, Viktor Orban, I think he's the president of Hungary. But the way he took over state-run media, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm going by memory here, but I remember the process. What he did was he suffocated public media and made them financially strapped. Okay, and then once they were to the point where they were almost insolvent, he went back and said, okay, we're going to make a deal. I'm going to give you money, or maybe a sub company will give you money or whatever. I think it was him. But you have to present the news in this fashion. You have to push these type of stories. You have to be pro Hungary or pro Turkey. I can't remember. I think it's Hungary, pro Hungary. And that's pretty much the strategy that Trump is trying to do with NPR, I believe, to where he's going to take away federal funding for it. He's going to make them cash strapped, and he's going to make deals. He's already repeated this type of system with attorneys and their security clearances to file lawsuits against the government.
Yep.
One firm has already made an agreement to do certain things for the Trump administration in return to
Yeah.
maintain their security clearances. You see, and I find that very uncanny because if you remember over the summer, he was visited by the president of Hungary. He was visited by Benjamin Netanyahu. He has discussions with Putin, which he will not either confirm nor deny. And I find that highly weird because he brags about everything. I had a great meeting, you know. If and then all you have to do is correlate what he's doing versus the types of systems that the people that have spoken with him or he interacts with are doing. You can kind of see he's pulling tactics from these authoritarian governments and he's pushing them, trying to push them here. And we may be at a constitutional crisis in a matter of days to see how much power Trump really has. And if he wins, hey, look, I'm buying the House of Belize.
Isn't that a distraction though from what's really going on within these states? Like V, you mentioned something earlier about just the economic state that a lot of countries are in. Like I think we're cash, we're rich, quote unquote, but we haven't balanced a budget since Clinton.
But we can. Like I said, with all these numbers in, like I said, with debt and stuff like that, the reason why we don't even have to balance the debt, and I don't even know why we even talk about that, because if I ask 90% if you ask 90% of the people, tell me exactly how the debt ratio has actually affected you, and tell me the difference between president to president. 9 out of 10 people can't tell you shit. So and then like
why they trying to mess with it now? Because they're trying to get that money. They're trying to rob us.
But they're trying to tie that in, V, and everybody to like possible recession. Like this is fucking up because of what's going on over here. So that means everything is going high. So that means you can't afford shit. So that means we're gonna go through some type of recession. Like
a lot of people getting crash courses right now.
Yeah,
whether they like it or not.
Control the inflation is controlled by the people who actually control the businesses. If they decided they want to hold fast and not actually raise inflation and things like that, they could, because they could eat that, because they actually could eat that. They just rather not.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, things can actually be done. It's just like we keep playing a game with people acting like there's something stopping them from doing the right thing. Only thing stopping them from doing the right thing is the wrong thing.
Capitalism, they're not going to take any losses because of made the balance sheet look bad.
Pro-capitalist, you are pro. I got to get it, and if it means strangling you, if it means getting you to work for me for 2 cents, and then I charge everybody $2,000 for your 2 cents of labor, that's my goal. Is to stretch that as much as I possibly can.
Yep.
And the more you stretch that, the more you're going to hurt some people. But that is
right. I remember before the 80s. Capitalism or companies had a dual loyalty. They had a loyalty to their businesses, and they have a loyalty to the country. And they always kept these two pillars intact until the 1980s, when they changed their philosophy to where, hey, we only have loyalty to our companies. So they don't care about how Americans suffer. They don't care. They'll close 50 Best Buys in the United States and open up in China. They've done that because they follow the money. They're global companies now. And I fear personally is they're running this country into the ground. And before everything goes to shit, they're going to restructure in other countries because they're multinational corporations now. We're not as much of a necessary item as we used to be. But that's what happens when the laws are written in their benefit.
When the people don't, like I said, every country's going to do exactly every country, unless the people force them to listen to them and obey them.
Preach.
That's any country. Until the people say, okay, enough of that shit, and if you don't, we're gonna do this. What I would like to see any government do, because there's no perfect government. There's no way to even make a perfect government.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that too.
Just to set a standard. Okay, housing market is the average house in Utah is $350,000. The government is going, if we just go ahead and pay people where they're supposed to be paid, pay the prices and be fair, the average house would cost $225,000. That's what we're going to set that standard at. Anybody that's charging at $350,000, that's fine. But understand they are fucking you. Understand they are being capitalists. Choose that if you want to, and make them give you something for that extra. Instead of having no floor, let it be in complete capitalism and saying, if I can get you to buy a fucking shack for $22 billion, I can get you a $22 billion shack made out of sheet metal.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
Billion, no matter what the fuck you say.
Yep.
So we need government to set a standard to say anything above this is them fucking you. anything of this is improper. So we have a
Sounds like
standard. You
talking
don't
about
have a standard
regulation.
to say, well, that costs too much, or I'm not getting paid enough when there's no goddamn standard. If
So
there's no
basically,
goddamn standard, you don't know if you underpaid or overpaid. But if you know capitalism and you know that if you work a job, they're trying to get people to pay as much as possible
yeah.
for as little as work they can give you.
So
So if they doing that, what the fuck you think they doing with your check? Because every time there's a bump in pay, in some type of corporate thing that goes on, and where they losing a little money, they go fire a whole bunch of y'all to get that money back.
Taxman is gonna get you, but it's only gonna get the people that is less fortunate to try to battle that shit. But the rich stay rich. That's pretty much what it is. A lot of people out there we're all collateral damage to a lot of these people out there. Like it's not gonna matter. Not going to matter regardless of what we do. I mean, I still feel like I need to put a foot in the media and be more than what it is. We need to get this shit out there to everybody. But deeper than that, though, a lot of people got to remember, like everybody's kind of, hell bent on this administration is going to save the country and this, that, and the other or whatever. But I don't believe that shit. I believe he's going to help his people and other people who follow them like a cult and be done with what they're doing. And people like us and anybody else that is not feeling the effects of victory is all collateral damage unless we fucking do something about it. Meaning, keep their ass on fire. If we have leaks like this, confidential, top secret bullshit that's going on or whatever, hold their ass accountable right away. And since you gave me something to put out there, so talk to me about what this is, and what this looks like. Oh, sorry.
So
my bad.
That ain't
it. Where'd it go?
Top. I see a document.
Why is this not? Just saw it. Oh, yeah, it's right there up top.
Oh, at the top, okay. And sorry, man, I did it last minute,
all right.
man. I was trying to.
That's all right.
I mean, it's slightly redacted, but tell people what's up with this.
Matter of fact, let me read from the original. Hold on, real quick.
He gonna get receipts.
Hey, in this day and age, we need them.
For real.
We need them.
Yeah. I had my mother-in-law call me while he's getting that. And, basically said that, she this is like the 1940s for her again. She's like, I don't know what this generation gonna do, because from the looks of it, we about to go back to separate bathrooms and water fountains.
A lot of people don't know and understand that it's being slowly put out there. Like a lot of people who's I don't want to say woke enough, but a lot of people who's gamed up enough to know, like there's little pieces. They can't do it all in one swoop, right? Like this man hasn't even been in office the first 100 days yet, right? But there's little pieces that started before he took office again, and now he's on a what James Brown say, big payback. He's on a big payback right about now on some of the shit that's going on. So it's crazy how things are. So Incense, what's up with this, bro?
All right, so I ain't gonna read this whole thing or whatever, but it's basically a security termination statement, and basically saying, I'm aware of my termination for access to classified information. All right. Still can't damn see. I need to get them other glasses. Basically, I've read and understood the below provisions of the Espionage Act, and a lot of numbers behind that we ain't got. It ain't important to read right now, whatever. But basically, when you come down here under the Espionage Act in that second paragraph, it states the stuff that you are not to do. So, gathering, transmitting, delivering, communicating, or disclosing information related to national defense, including restricted data, to an unauthorized person or causing these acts. losing information related to national defense through gross
Right.
negligence, failing failing to report to superiors the known loss or theft of information relating to national defense, communicating classified information to an agent or representative of a foreign government, failing to deliver or on demand documents or information relating to the national defense to an officer or an employee of the United States who is entitled to receive it, and gathering or delivering information relating to national defense to aid a foreign government. So, with that being said, once see they didn't technically they didn't admit that it was classified information, but then they try to poo-poo it when they got busted. Well, it was sensitive information. Same time, it wasn't done with negligence.
Mm-hmm.
So when he said wasn't done with negligence, you just said you did it,
Right. Right.
right? You just said you did it, but you just didn't do it with negligence.
That's what it sounded like.
Exactly what it
So
sounds like.
So regardless, it's classified information that was transmitted on an unsecure chat line.
And more than likely, it was a personal chat line or a chat line on a personal machine. I find it hard to believe because I was a security administrator and an officer. And when you're a security administrator and an officer, there is at my agency that I worked at, there is a mill to where you have to request everything. I can't give your ass a Microsoft Word unless I got 3 signatures to say you can have it. That's how tight our security to these programs are. And to hear people at the top say, well, this app was just happened to be installed on the computer. And even if it is, you have to do paperwork to access it. I can't give you Excel unless I see a check that says Microsoft Excel. And if that check ain't on that form and I ain't got my 3 signatures, then you don't get it.
Yep.
Messenger, you don't get it. Email, you don't get it. So for somebody to say that, and in my agency was not even as important as the intelligence community, not by far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we go to private communications, at my level, they were not allowed to speak about security issues that were involving certain individuals at certain levels, and certain business you can't go and just go to a room or somewhere else and just talk about that stuff. We also have private teleconferencing. So wherever we had to have sensitive discussions, we would bring people to a field office where every section of the government, I'm assuming, has this, where you can send to a private room on a private network, have a private video conference, and discuss sensitive issues. So knowing this, and knowing at my agency where we don't talk about missile strikes, and that we would just have to be talking about certain individuals, I got to go through a pile of paperwork just to give you Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
Ain't no way in the world you're gonna get signal at the gate.
Right.
I'm just saying. And even if he was on the chat, this reporter, he would have to get access to get signal installed on whatever device he's on. So for him to be at his home phone, like, I got signal, I'm talking, that's just unbelievable. It's hard to believe, because even we have our internal messaging systems, which we did, that was only for individuals inside the network. And say if you were in a field office somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't use your own internet. I got to drive my black ass 4 hours, 5 hours. Sometimes I had to take a plane to different continents to connect you to that network manually.
Yep.
So I don't, it may be true, but for me, I've been in the game for over 2 decades. I'm just saying, it's a hard pill to swallow.
It gets to the point where it's, we're at a situation right now where, they're just trying to sweep it under the rug. They don't want us to talk about it, like I mentioned earlier. They just don't want to be held accountable to certain things that, is kind of important, not just to the American people, but, other people, to basically just kind of tell these people to just, You know, if you did something wrong, own it. Like, you know how quickly this could have been dealt with if they say yes.
Yeah, and see,
One day.
they wanted it gone, but they didn't want to
Yeah.
admit to it. And then even Fox News or Ryan Lawrence was trying to, oh yeah, the American people don't want to know about this. Just it's gonna be gone in a day or two, whatever. No, you want it to be gone.
Like these young ladies
It ain't gone.
gone in a day or two because they're sitting up there in a damn group chat talking about war plans, attack plans, whatever you want to call it. You are in a group chat. You are supposed to be in a fucking situation room. What are you talking about?
Or a skiff. Right.
Or a
Thank
skiff.
you.
But you definitely shouldn't be in Russia talking about war plans, attack plans, whatever they want to call it, to not get in trouble. But you're still in trouble because you thought that it was okay to be in a group chat. Like, the only thing that's happening in that group chat should be, hey, we're here. Okay, bet. And that's it. Nothing else to be discussed. You're discussing time, date.
Well,
Let's go to the skiff.
Yeah, even deeper than that though. Like, even if they're all part of a chat and they're doing what we saw that little clip, they're just saying now, shit, I gotta fucking deal with Europe and their fucked up ways again. Paraphrasing, but you know what I mean. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, talking shit about other countries or whatever, gossiping like little, you know, whatever. But
Like children.
to me, it's weird. It's weird to see, especially from people where, you know, if you're in the working class minority, taxes goes to these motherfuckers for traveling and all this other shit that we got to deal with. But we're dealing with these things and everything else that comes along with it. So all I want to do, if I pay my motherfucking taxes, I just want you to do your goddamn job right and be held accountable when it's time for you to be held accountable. That's not too much for me to ask. It's not. It's not.
And see, people are stuck on how they deflect. They keep deflect. Well, he should be talking about the results of the strike or whatever. And you know, I'm like, dude, it's a principle,
right? No,
and I took offense of it because all the stuff that was engraved in us, you know, scared us the bejesus out of us. You know, you don't want to make a mistake because you got a fine and imprisonment.
Right.
Oh, on this sheet too, I didn't read it, but it has. You can have life imprisonment on that bottom paragraph.
Mm-hmm. Sure it is.
You could get life in.
Yep. And imagine somebody being in their 20s having to deal with the reality of saying, if I say something I'm not supposed to say, I'm going to jail for life.
Right. And that's why and that's why that journalist was like, you know what? I'm not gonna push all this out there, because if I leak all this shit out there, I'm going to jail for life. So let me not do that, but also let me just basically just put the what I know of. Oh, you know what? This was classified. They sent this shit to me, and bam, there you go. Like, you know, that's it. But I mean, people are not stupid. They're trying to lead us down that path like we are, but you know, that shit's there's gotta be a certain point in time where this shit's gotta, you know, come full circle.
Right.
Why are they ignoring it? Is because they don't want to fucking deal with real people coming at them with real shit. So instead, they want to just sweep it along and be like, nothing to see here. But how many times have we dealt with that? Maybe not us per se in our lifetime, but our ancestors before us. Like, you know what? There's no racism going on over here. Just, you know, look the other way. It's fine. You'll be all right. It's cool.
Same
I
tip
think
with different
we've all
topic.
dealt with that, actually.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, something's gotta work where somebody could be held accountable. Now, a lot of people are depending on the Democrats to be able to do their job and make sure they press on this hardcore, but I feel like it's even bigger than them now. Like, even if they try, I mean, they are the ones in front of them, so they could be able to be proactive with it, but it's gotta take a lot more than that just to be able to try to do that. It also got to take a lot of other strong Republicans with a backbone to be able to stand up to what the fuck is going on right now too, and be like, yo, this shit's got to stop.
Yeah, the Republicans don't have a spine because they feel they're going to be primary. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Reserve. Go ahead.
I love how, you know, everybody wants to, what are the Democrats going to do? What are the Democrats going to do? Why are y'all sitting back? Why aren't you doing anything? Because you decided to completely abandon us on November 5th. So now we're just like, we told you this is going to happen. I mean,
That
what do
part.
you want? Like, what do you want us to
Like,
do?
hey.
We said we need a trifecta. We need to have the Senate, we have the House, and we need to have the presidency. Y'all wanted cheaper eggs. How's that working out for you right now?
Hey, just like everybody said, hey, we don't know nothing about Project 2025. That's just
Baby, but his name's
Oh.
all through it.
nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. You're just lying. We don't know nothing about that. We didn't write this. We didn't write this.
Hey, let
Yep,
me throw
and
a
then
little monkey wrench in here.
go ahead.
So, what do y'all think about the job that Kash Patel is doing with the FBI?
What job?
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Like, what?
I don't know what he's doing, but I hope he's doing something because he's definitely getting paid a pretty penny. I hold my judgment, but from what I've heard, he's telling people that he doesn't really read reports and he wants FBI agents to be trained in MMA, which is kind of weird. But
if you always see him, like, if you go back to that little video, and I've seen him on other stuff, that Joker, he must have ADD or something because he is always wrestling through papers. So I don't know what he's reading, some kind of reports or something. Because I'm telling you, watch, play that clip again and show him, Brandon.
All right, got you.
Every time I see him, he's going
unauthorized
through some
release
papers
of
and stuff
classified
like that while they're
information is
getting
a
answered
violation of the law and will be treated as such. So if this information is
I just find it
classified,
crazy that
what are you going to do?
they got an immigration problem.
Senator,
The
2
head
points
of
here.
FBI
First of
is-
all, there's a difference between inadvertent release
Imagine that.
versus
Careless and sloppy.
You see his arm
malicious
moving
leaks
already?
of classified information. The second point is
Yeah, that shit
there was no
crazy.
classified
We'll see, like I said,
information
I
that was
was kinda
on
the
the
information
signal
curious
she
about
got.
that, but
And I think the White
I
House
don't
has
know.
acknowledged
I'm
that the
gonna
text chain
refrain from what
was
I'm really
authentic.
thinking about it.
I'll
But
start with Ms. Gabbard. In the signal
I ain't gonna lie, he was sitting there like, hey, I'm glad I wasn't on that shit because they asked him about it.
Right, exactly.
Hey, he
He's
looked at
like,
him
"Ooh,
like, I ain't got nothing to do
I
with
got
that.
that bullet.
I wasn't there. I don't know nothing. That's why he started riffling through his
Hey.
papers and stuff like that.
Right. This was not me. I was not on this thing.
he had a list of canned responses. That's what he was doing.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Because my thing is that, like, y'all was stuck on Hillary's emails for what, 10 years? And they're still trying to say, but her
They still
emails.
stuck
No,
on
you ain't no but her emails no more. No. But your group chat.
But see, they're stuck on. But see, here's the thing. And I think it's, hey, do you know how many times during Obama's 2 terms that he could have been like, hey, especially that first term, you know what, Bush fucked up everything before I got here, but this is what I'm doing to clean up. Woo, woo, woo. He could have had Bush in his mouth for a hell of those years, aka 2 terms. But you didn't really hear much. But now with this administration and then that administration back in 2016 that started, like, all you're hearing is just the same shit. Like, yeah, if it wasn't for Biden, or if it wasn't for whoever else, then it's just like, man, get them people out of your mouth. Like, if they fucked up, they fucked up. Go fix it then. Go fix it. You said you could fix it day one. You said you could fucking end the war day one before you even take term. You could tell everybody these goddamn lies and everybody's gonna believe it. And it's just like, hey, what's your problem? Just fix it, like you said. Like he said the same shit about, like, yo, somebody called him out on it. Hey, hold on. Somebody said that, yo, you said before you took office, again, you said you could fix the war. Oh, I was just exaggerating. The fuck out of here with that shit. Like, but you said
war, gas prices.
I just thought that was very
Palestine.
I'm surprised people even took
Wait,
it
hold
seriously.
on.
We didn't take it seriously.
Of course not. We knew.
I'm just
those
trying
rural
to
Americans took it seriously.
I'm just trying to hold his ass accountable. Like, he tries to say that he's doing all this shit for the people or whatever. 99.99999 low. Fuck it. 100% of what he says that comes out of his mouth, I don't believe.
Lie.
100%.
And what president he talking about? When they asked him about the signal thing, what president? I don't know.
Hey, he's trying to deflect, which he has done. Anything he wants to be the perfect president, and he want everything that I'm doing is right. So in those when the Dow took a nosedive, amongst all this tariffs bullshit, he was quiet. He was quiet. You start, shit start popping up again.
Then he said he wasn't reading.
Yeah, he wasn't looking because he's pissed. But you know what? I bet you if they surged and they was just on top of the world, he would have a whole press conference and a whole, like, you know what? let's go have a rally and talk about how well I'm doing and all this other shit like that, man. It's
Right.
Listen, I'm beyond the fact that, you know what, he served a term before and he's doing another one again, and he's trying to do a third one, but we already know that's not going to happen.
Dead in
But
the water.
listen, I just want these, I hate to say it, but I just want these 4 years to go so quick that we can just move on from this shit and be done. I don't want to age myself, but goddamn, let's go
Man.
to 2028 right now. Shit, I'm tired of it. But
About half of is it? I mean, 3.5 is it shit.
But here's the
What does that
thing, though,
mean?
like that I'm so confused about. Dearborn, Michigan, I have questions. Okay, so this is the person that started out with a Muslim ban when he was in office last time. What the hell made you think he was going to give a damn about Palestine? Like, I have so many questions.
And
And
that's
I was talking
disrespect.
about someone who went up to Michigan 3 times to avoid this shit, trying to knock on doors, trying to
Hey.
save y'all crazy people. But no, you
Okay,
think he's going to save
You
Palestine?
just
with
brought
you
up a
guys.
valid point. You brought up a valid point that I wanted to say. So check this
Mhm.
out. You just brought up Palestine. All right. So we're on the side of what? Israel, right?
yep.
Is that our
We're talking about
allies,
as far
right?
as the American government or just the American people?
Right.
Two different
Right.
things.
The government
American
is on the side of Israel, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
The
Yahoo,
American
yes.
government, right?
hmm
So tell me why I found this interesting. The two people that are on shit list right now, the judge Bowlesbury, Bowlesburg or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Goldberg, yeah.
Sound like he's from Jewish descent, and then the guy that just the reporter sound like he's from Jewish descent too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wasn't
Anybody
that
think about
judge
that?
though? Wasn't that judge an Obama appointed judge or?
No, he wasn't. He actually
I
he was
think Bush or
through
Reagan.
Bush. Yeah, he was through Bush,
All right,
and
facts.
and
You're right.
he also sided with Trump twice.
Right. So it appears to me that he's just mad because he won't give Trump what he wants because what Trump wants does not fall within the scope of the law. And I think
Right.
as we go back to part of 2025, they have listed a strategy of finding cases to challenge to put a stress test on our constitutional and judicial branches of government. Well, Constitution, but the judicial branch of government.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yep.
and these are the cases. So we'll see. But right now,
Well,
this
here's
one's the
another-
Supreme Court right now.
I have another question. Supreme Court. So now you're just kind of getting a conscience and realizing that you shouldn't have given him fucking king powers.
I guess so. The reality checks got cashed, and we all were telling them, which is weird because black folks are almost always right every damn time. And I will say we are right because we've experienced every facet of oppression in this country.
That part.
And since we see it and we dealt with it on every level, from slavery to pervasive, you can't get a home loan because you're black, right?
Right.
They
Mhm.
won't listen to us, but they'll listen to the people that they seem as the dominant, as the smartest, and it's all a facade. Like, I won't recommend it because they did that to us. Well, we're gonna go what they say, you know, because they got the shiny stuff over there.
That's been the MO for a hot minute. And it's just like I saw something on CNN as well, where there's like, you know, people who voted for Trump is like regretting that they did because those government workers are now no longer working, right? So
Right.
So, you know, I was looking at it and I didn't have the clip to play, and I just wanted to make sure I played it safe just in case we legally can't do it. But she went off paraphrasing, but she went off saying that, you know what, I wish I changed my mind. And I'm over here asking, like, did you change your mind because you got fired from your government job? But
that's exactly what it was.
there's other
Yes.
people who were getting deported and all this other shit. You know, a college kid got deported from Colombia in school, in class.
Right.
That you're now regretting it, that you regretted voting for that man. So it's weird to me. Like I said, even in 2016, I'm thinking like, yo, if this asshole literally is trying to be able to move this country in the right direction, fine, respect, whatever, do you, if you're doing it. But last term we didn't see it, and now so far with less than 100 days,
You're going backwards. You're going so
it's,
far back. Like they actually are attempting to take away the African American History Museum in DC. Like I need people to understand. Black MAGA, what the fuck were y'all thinking?
Oh man, dude, there's still some black MAGA holding on.
Hold on for dear life.
yeah. It's,
Hold on.
hey, there's a
Like,
few.
for
A lot
real?
of us voted for the other side like that. But like I said, I ain't on this side, that the other side. It's a whole bunch of people that just saying they. But it's a lot of us that don't identify with being us. They identify with being American. They not American, and so
Yeah.
they serious about that. And okay, that's cool with you. I'm not willing to put down who I am.
That's
For no-
right. That's right. And like I would tell a lot of people who I have discussion with, where they want to adopt wealth as the major decision maker of all their policies, right? And I would tell them, I say, hey, you can't judge Black America by the best of us. You have to judge Black America by the worst of us, because we at a turn of a hat, we all can be back on the bottom. It took Jim Crow. It took 30 years for Jim Crow to take effect into this country, and when it took effect, our wealth, our freedoms dropped like a rock. Before the Civil Rights Act, Black poverty was at 60% and higher. Today is at 17%. But in the past 2 months, we've had all the policies that gave us those opportunities have been stripped away. Some people want to argue, well, they didn't take it all away. It's not a real thing. The real thing is that they removed the mechanisms for the government to enforce policy. Now, say for instance, if you have an issue, you got to pay for an attorney. You got to find somebody to sue. Nobody's going to get arrested because they took away the corrective mechanisms, like back during Jim Crow. Who's going to arrest the police if the person killing you is the police? You know.
That part.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, but they better wake up, because right now, if we get shot in the street out of race, they done shut down the civil rights agencies. What can they do? Trump has already removed reporting of racial police incidents involving race at almost every level. Hell, they're gonna sell the damn museum where King was shot. They don't care. They don't care.
And it's
Before
just
y'all.
like I
You brought
said,
up another point.
they use all this shit to distract us from what really is going on. Like even this right now, we're talking about something and they want us to distract because you know why? They're gonna pass some kind of law saying that something else was done or whatever. So this is all what it is. But I'll tell you this. I mean, we can multitask. We can figure this shit out and put this out there in the street as well.
We ain't boo-boo the fool, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And we can go to the whole down and do what we do. Like to me.
And guess what? We're still staying in the house. Y'all got it. Have fun.
We know the game, because as soon as something happens and we go out there in the street, he gonna say, "Oh, martial law." Then so you know they're gonna be
exactly.
You know,
exactly. So we still
and we
in the
going
house.
and we are going to be in the house because we are focusing on community and we're focusing on policy, and we're going to leave it to these other demographics, the people who voted for Trump, to take to the streets and to take action, because we know, because he's smart, but he's simple. Okay, the tactic is to find a reason to vilify somebody to enforce certain laws or policies he believes is legal. So, hey, you do something wrong. Oh, well, you're breaking the law. Just like, here's the thing. Just like when they said that they were only going to deport criminals, right? And what's the first thing I told my friend? They're going to say they're going to deport criminals. They're going to say everybody here is a criminal.
Yep.
And what did they do at the press conference? You said that you're going to be deporting criminals. Well, they're all criminals. They're here illegally. They're all criminals. So somebody crossing the border, which is a civil violation, not a criminal violation, is getting the same treatment as somebody who committed murder. They're not making that distinction anymore. But that's what they did to us. That's why we know they were going to do it again. And we tried to tell them, and they effed around and found out. and
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit here and sip my coffee and watch it
Right.
all go down until they wake up.
Hey, for
Hey,
real.
you brought up awake,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly.
So why did I read a interview? So it's, to my knowledge, is Steve Bannon MAGA?
Yeah.
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 Okay. So why does Joker say toward the end of his interview? I read it. He's like, people gotta wake up. I'm like, wait a minute, a MAGA said wake up?
You know what? What I'm pissed off is how the word woke has been hijacked as if it's some bullshit
Right.
like that.
That part. What the
That's my whole. That's
I
my
can't
whole
stand
point.
that shit.
He didn't even realize that he said. He didn't even realize that he said he used his
Yeah.
own
Right.
his own information.
Yep.
Used it against,
Exactly.
Yeah, but that part's crazy too. It's like, so y'all took woke and just like turned it into some extra
It
shit,
means
and all it means is being awake.
homosexuality now.
and it can be.
It
Hey,
means
it
you
can be diffused so
a
easy.
Democrat.
All you have to
Right,
do
V.
is
Right.
Well,
Like,
see,
what the
they turn woke into like it's evil.
Like a pejorative, right?
Fuck.
yeah.
We've been
Like,
using
My
this
thing
shit
is
for
like,
30
dude,
years.
they turn woke. Hey, listen,
common-
y'all, they turn woke like they turn sex. Like, sex is not evil.
Right.
Just saying, like,
yeah. So I would say, I hear them all the time. Oh, they're woke. They're woke. So I would say, hey, what's the opposite of woke?
whoa, love it.
No,
Love it.
what's
How
even
hard
better
is
I
it?
love it.
is
How
asking
He
hard is
them.
probably
it?
would say nowadays a conservative.
I love it.
Mm,
But what's funny though is ask them what woke means.
they won't.
Man,
can't
that
They
define
don't
shit there
know.
irritates the shit out of me. What I say now is which woke you talking about, white woke or black woke? That's what I say. Black folk don't mean what the fuck you
Oh,
talking about.
that's a good one. I'm gonna use that. Can I please use that?
Man, you
love
got
it.
it, because that's what I say
I
all the
love
time, like black folk or white woke. Because white
That
woke mean a whole bunch of shit, gay, liberalism, all kinds of shit. I just mean that I ain't going for the okie doke with white folks.
that's
Right.
right.
That's what.
that
Yeah. That's
part.
what woke means.
That part.
Open your eyes. Don't fall for the stupid.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all
Like
it
a lot of
means.
people are doing.
Yep.
And
Hey,
one thing that go ahead.
now go ahead, bro.
All right. And one thing that I've learned about conservative circles and propaganda on the right is they focus on human behavior as policy because human behavior doesn't cost them anything. It don't cost you any money to sit there and say, hey, we're changing the dress code. It doesn't cost them anything to say, hey, we don't approve of certain people, so we have to change how they act or how they present themselves to the world. But that's what they sell. But and what they don't understand is there's another part of the package that they're not telling you about. They're not telling you about the price cut, the tax cuts to the rich. They're not telling you
That
about how
part.
you're going to cut government organizations. They're not going to tell you how they're going to cut food stamps
To
and
me,
health care and Social
to
Security.
me, that's why they focusing on the debt. That's why they focusing on the debt now. That's why
Exactly.
That's how they gonna backdoor us and be like, hey, yeah, we found this and fraud and abuse and all that. Or whatever. Man,
Oh
come
no,
on.
we got fraud and
They had
abuse.
A
IG
It's
solution
called
in
being
search of a
unjust.
fraud
problem.
and abuse and
Yep.
everything. Everything has fraud and abuse.
Yeah, for sure.
And they've had people IGs to take care of that.
Right.
But if you fire all them and put your people in there,
That part.
then you can do what
You're,
the
you're
hell you
rigging the
want.
system. And then you put inexperienced people in there, and that's the problem. You're putting people in there who don't know the system, who don't know what's legal or illegal, and they will just do your bidding. I can attest to this. When I got promoted, and I was a very young guy when I took a management position at my job, they thought that they were just going to tell me anything and everything, and I would just do it. And I like, you know what? That don't sound right. Let me go check with the union. Hey, what's the laws on this? What's meet me and give me the paperwork. I want to see the policy, and I just follow the policy because there are certain people with certain backgrounds who understand that everything that people tell you ain't always the truth, and people have
That
motives,
part.
and people sometimes will use you to do their bidding, and then you're the one who's going to get fried. So hey, we got this little young black kid. He's smart guy. We can put him in a leadership position. We'll just tell him anything. And then they're telling me not to let my employees vote. They're telling me to deny their leave. They're telling me they can't leave work and they can't come to work at a certain time. And I'm like, nope, I ain't doing that because I ain't off the street. I was a soldier. And
One
one
of my
thing I
boys
learned.
actually
that the technical orders mean something, and it mean a lot more than what you telling me.
Exactly right.
One of my
Exactly.
boys actually told me he had to deal with that, where he had to. They was hiring for T-Mobile, I guess, for his position that they had. The average person that was making like $65,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
He said he had to argue because they had another dude come in, a Hispanic dude come in, and they wanted to start him out at 48.
Wow.
Wow.
$17,000 difference from what the average was on there. And I was like, if he hadn't have fought for him, they was gonna start him out. I said, and this motherfucker would have worked his ass off next to his counterparts, going, man, I got a raise. He had 55,000, and he done worked his ass off to get to 55,000. Everybody else then started off at 65,000.
Wow.
You would be pissed. But how often does this happen and we don't know about it?
I got a
It
question,
happens
V.
a whole bunch.
I got a question.
That's the reason why it's taboo to talk about fucking how much you make at a job.
Yeah.
Why? We work here together. What the fuck?
It's by
difference does it make?
design.
I
It's
might
by
want to work
design.
over there.
Right.
Yeah. I got a question for you, V. The person that your homeboy, was he the person who was responsible for doing the hiring, right?
Yes. Yes.
See, and that's where the rubber meets the road, because if he didn't fight for him, and then the guy, the Hispanic employee, the Hispanic employee would have found out, he would have blamed the supervisor that hired him. And we had an issue like that. We had a sister at my job, a sister who was told to write negative performance appraisals that was not within the scope of her duties.
Wow.
And you know what? Her being a soldier, it's like, I ain't doing that because I've only had them for like a month. You can write it, but I'm not.
Right.
And then guess what happened? They wrote those performance appraisals illegally. The whole division filed cases, but they didn't file against her because she didn't write them.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how crazy they are, man.
And that's
you
fucking
hit
with
the nail on the
somebody's
head.
livelihood, man, and you don't even know that. And people just play with people's livelihood like that. Like that's something to play with. You don't play with nobody's livelihood like that. This man went to school to learn a trade, to get a fair job in a trade that he did, hoping to make these type of money. That's why you usually choose your trade. Okay, I want to live a certain way. I got to make X amount of dollars, and then you got somebody fucking with you, playing games.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you go bust your ass to get a promotion just to fucking never be where your counterparts are, no matter what.
Yep.
Exactly.
And let him find out he got the okie-dokie. Your homeboy would have been fired for it. Who told you to do it? You know, they probably will use that on that gaslighting. You're the boss.
Right.
You was in charge. Why didn't you know?
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side of that, it pisses me off with us. Well, I didn't have it, and then they fucked up. Nigga, if you gave 50 people a job and they fucked it up, how many white people you gave a job to that you had to fire? How many Mexicans you gave?
That part.
That goes along with it, boss.
Exactly.
You fucking do the hiring and firing.
Exactly.
Everybody that left here, bitch, you had something to do with.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Hello?
You don't give a fuck about none of them, but the two black people that you fucking recommended and shit that didn't work out. Now you all of a sudden you done for a lifetime with the shit. Fuck you lazy bitch. I hate them, man. When they get to saying shit like that, I get dead on their ass, bro. It's like, you act like all this shit.
He cooking tonight.
100 years of fucking oppression, and you tired in your lifetime in 2 years, bitch.
Exactly.
Oh, I get
but
right on
it's
their
so
ass, boy.
interesting now
Like,
how
nigga,
this
you didn't want to say
administration,
that to me.
right? It's so interesting now how this administration wants to, quote unquote, get rid of, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. But when we had DEI, the plane stayed in the sky though. Like, I mean, they didn't fall out like every week. DEI didn't leak information on a fucking group text. So maybe y'all need to take DEI back or something.
Hella random that people would just planes just started dropping over the last couple of months. So
I mean, damn.
Right.
And since you back, you good?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm down.
I didn't know planes dropped out the sky like that. Like I thought that was like a once in a lifetime situation. They dropping like, I mean,
it's been crazy.
Yeah, I gotta fly this week. I'm scared.
We could all chart into the game of people who's not competent to do a job, or is something else going on. I'm still kind of in between. Like, I don't know what the fuck is up. Like, everything.
Oh no, it's definitely the guy from Real World Road Rules with no freaking government experience ever in the what? It's
Sean
definitely that
Duffy.
fool.
Out though.
Sean
Crazy.
Duffy.
Who?
He's so lame. I don't even remember him. The fuck?
I think it was like on season 2 or season 3 of The Real World when he was a
I don't remember.
and I think he married that one girl too, Rachel. I think he married her. He was
Yeah.
a
What?
yeah.
Right.
What is he in charge of?
Oh,
Transportation.
transportation.
That's why the planes were upset.
Wow.
Because he was so
Wow.
we gotta get the DEI out of the airports. Or out of the transportation.
You know, I'm not a
Who the
statistician.
fuck are they hiring? What fucking job in transportation? What bus driver wasn't qualified to be bus driver? Like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. If
Exactly.
he been there 3 years, he good enough. Shit, if he ain't told shit up in 3 years, let that nigga live, man. Goddamn. The fuck?
I'm confused how it can be black people when they have 90%, 97% of the industry is non-black. I mean, how that magical 3% got them all spooked. What?
Right.
Well, now when it comes
how
to
does that math work?
now, hold up. When it comes to DOD, that's a lot of jobs for us. The DOD is full of black people.
Oh, we know that. Yeah.
And that's why they targeted him.
That's why I think that's why they targeted it also.
Yep.
But you know, we don't like to fly though.
all part of the Project 2025 that people
Because
say
see, black people wasn't on his side. You know, and because he didn't even give a fuck about the MAGA ones and shit. Black people wasn't on his side. We his main nemesis.
Hey.
So any and everything he could do to fuck us, he gonna fuck us because that's just he on a
Exactly.
revenge tour.
Exactly.
Speaking of Black MAGA again, what do y'all know about that dude Malik Abdul and Sir Michael Singleton? I think is his name.
I got into it with Malik. I got into it with Malik a couple of years ago on Twitter because yeah, man, we were going back and forth for a minute. I can't remember on something, man, but he said something that triggered a lot of black folks. And I told his ass off, and then he started pasting my tweets. Saying, "This is what's wrong with black people." I'm like, "F you! I don't give a shit."
Hey, they basically last night on CNN, they basically said, "I don't think you're Black MAGA by everything that you're mad about." Because, and then they asked him, they said, "You think you could meet with?" They would set you, I guess, at a meeting or whatever. And he's like, nope. So we're like, dude, why are you Black MAGA?
Exactly. Here's one thing about Malik. Because Malik used to be on Roland Martin, like in the very beginning. So I used to watch Malik because Malik, he wasn't like he is now.
Democrat. Yeah, he used to be a Democrat, but he said he grew up Democrat because that's what he knew.
Yep.
And then. But nothing wrong with being conservative because you know what I'm saying. Like I said, I'm both. I'm liberal and I'm conservative. But
that's right.
He got to be Black MAGA. You know what I'm saying? He got to be Black MAGA. I'm like, why you got to be that?
I think conservatism only works if it's only one group of people.
Yeah.
If it's multiple group of people, that shit does not work.
Yeah, conservatism.
The one group of people want to be in control. They want it their way, and they don't give a fuck about nobody else. So, like I said, it only works if it'll work in Sweden because it's 99% white folks. You know what I'm saying? And they all from the same culture. So that's why it works in those places. It's not going to work when you got 35 different nationalities and cultures. They have different beliefs, different ideologies. That shit is not going to work.
Yeah, they co-opted the right. The point blank, the white supremacists have taken over, which is why black folks are by and large no longer conservative. We don't identify like that anymore because we got common sense. You don't want us there, we'll go. We'll take our vote somewhere else. But that's
we need
why
to go somewhere else. Real shit. We got a continent 3 times the size of this motherfucker. And it's way richer. They just over there getting fucked over. And if we go over there and go, look, we ain't selling uranium over here for no 90 motherfucking cent no more. Fuck them. Do you know what they selling it for over there? And let them know what they selling it for over there. Because like I said, to make a point about that, because when we think that everybody knows what they know, I was shocked when I found out that there was some shit that happened in Namibia, and the youth there don't have any idea of it. See, what if you didn't know about Martin Luther King? What if you didn't know about Medgar Evers and all these other things? And if you didn't know shit about slavery, if they never allowed us to see roots and shit like that, none of that shit was allowed to be on the TV, we wouldn't have
Real
no
talk.
idea of how bad it was.
Real talk.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you will grow up believing that, oh, I'm just one of them, and you're not gonna understand just how fucked up it is and just how much we are hating.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the levels that they go to do, if they could fuck over us, they could actually fuck over Africa. Africa would still be good, and
Yep.
nobody would fucking complain. But they doing it so raw dog. They're just like, man, come on, bro.
I mean,
These
and not only
motherfuckers on
that,
average
like,
sell uranium at $200 a kilogram. They
yeah,
getting it from fucking Niger for 90 cents a
and it's
kilogram.
been like that be for probably hella long too, though.
I mean,
Like,
the fucking is just so out of line. It is like, nigga, if you gave them $75, it would have made things so much better there that they wouldn't even gave a fuck or didn't even know that you fucking them.
mm-hmm.
But when you spending billions of dollars of gold out of a fucking country just in one natural resource, gold,
Right.
Right.
and
Right.
they making and they sending billions out. Damn
Yeah.
that the gold countries over there are sending billions a year out,
Yeah.
and paying colonial tax. They paying back whatever the fuck these motherfuckers build over there. They're paying for that shit, just like Haiti, and they still fucking surviving. They still got millions of people over there. We still the second deepest motherfuckers on earth under these conditions.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Real
Yep.
talk. Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing, dude? Fuck, trying to motherfucking get cool with these over here. Man, they got too much space over there, too much opportunity over there for us not to be like, hey man, what we got to do to fucking link up with our brothers and sisters over there?
Hey, did
'Cause
y'all
if
hear
they
that?
knew what the fuck we knew, bruh, we could change shit overnight.
Agreed.
Exactly. Did y'all hear that Benin is giving citizenship to Africans in the diaspora?
Really?
Yeah, I read
That's
on
a
ABC.
couple countries. Ghana been doing that for a while. That's a couple countries.
This
Did
is
you know
Benin
that I
and
think
Ghana.
it was Mozambique paid motherfucking white farmers that they took the land back from? Did you know that they got their reparations? $360 million fucking dollars.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And then Elon Musk talking about getting reparations to South Africa, white South Africa.
Like
Well, the executive order have been signed.
Right.
They got their 40 acres in the mule if they want to come here.
Yeah, they're true. Very
oh,
true.
well, shit. Well, your president actually want to fuck with South Africa.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Out
Right.
of line for trying to take these white folks' land.
Yeah.
That's what I just.
But we gonna leave out the big chunk that they took it first, motherfucker?
For real.
They're 7% of the population, but own like 90% of the resources.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, to me, they nice about that shit. To me, Africa is nice about that shit. They getting pushed down, like I said, the northern Africa, they pushing them further and further down. Like I said, they put Sudan fighting the war now. Shit, they had came to a peace treaty a couple years ago, found oil. All of a sudden, now the motherfuckers from the north, the Arabs, said, "Well, fuck it, we want that too again." Yo,
Exactly.
they came up with two country state,
Right.
black folks in the southern part and Arabs in the north. As soon as they found oil in the fucking south, now they back at war again.
Yeah.
They want that
The Arabs
wealth.
just as cold against us, bruh.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
The Arabs are just as cold. Everybody talking about going to Dubai. Dubai cold peace. Dubai over there funding that fucking war over there in the UAE because they stealing gold from these people. Billions of dollars of gold is being stolen from these people. So they natural resources are being stolen, and they fucking give them a lot of aid, and then telling these people that they can't grow certain fucking crops.
Yeah.
They're actually telling Burkina Faso thought that they couldn't grow wheat, so they just grew 600 tons of the shit just last year. They thought they couldn't grow wheat.
Wow.
So the knowledge that these people are getting, the shit that we think that who don't know you couldn't grow wheat. Well, apparently they didn't know that they could fucking grow wheat, because they were told they don't have the farmlands to grow a lot of shit. So a lot of these countries depend on aid for foods because they won't grow it at all.
Right.
This shit is crazy.
Right.
Yeah, that's wild. That is wild. Yeah.
This shit is crazy.
Never ending shit that will never end. I mean,
we gotta let them know that they being fucked over, and we gotta quit letting them fucking us over. And we need to start motherfucking supplying them like the UAE and Saudis. They're supplying the Arabs and the motherfucking camel riding motherfuckers and giving them Stinger weapons and AK-47s. We need to start sending our motherfucking people AK-47s and shit like that.
Real
That's
shit.
what the fuck we need to do and stop fucking complaining and
Real
start fucking tooling up
That's it. That's it.
and go home and shit and say fuck them and leave them over here because we got most of the shit.
That's right.
Most of the world's natural wealth is right there in Africa.
That's it.
And they pumping the shit out of that motherfucker. And they've been doing it for years and shit. Eventually they gonna do it to where we won't be able to get up. So we got to go home.
That's right. That's right. Hey, we're at the top of the hour, so we're gonna put a bookmark on this as well. But it'll be like depending on what we set up when we set it up with people that's listening or whatnot. Listen, if people want to go into what we used to do, like the after hours, they gotta subscribe to a goddamn membership to get all the good shit out.
Period.
Y'all want to do that shit, y'all can definitely do it. But real quick before we go, I'm always trying to dig into media and hold people accountable. Y'all heard about that Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James shit that went on, right?
Yeah.
I still haven't heard the whole story though.
Me neither.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, he checked LeBron checked Stephen A. for talking about it, about his fatherhood. As he should.
And see, when I had heard him talking about, and I agree with what he was talking about, he was basically talking about don't put him in that position, especially when he first got in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you gonna put your kid in that position? Which I understand, but you should be talking personally about somebody's kid. Yeah, you know.
Exactly.
If you can get your son to be in the motherfucking NBA and shit, you get your goddamn son in
Right?
the NBA.
Everybody gonna do it.
Your boss was is an idiot that just happened to be the son of the motherfucking owner's goddamn. He just the son of the owner, and he your goddamn boss. Fuck that, nigga. If you can get your son a motherfucking NBA contract, whether you deserve it or not.
Right.
So, like I said, basically, he was talking about really he needed to be in the G League because the expectation of him to be like his father was going to be too much.
We put that expectation on him. He ain't put it
I
on
know.
himself.
I know.
Exactly.
Shit, why the fuck should he go to the G League to make us feel better? Fuck that.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a good
I'm gonna
point.
keep getting mine in the NBA check. Fuck y'all. I ain't gonna.
And
I don't give a
who's
damn
Stephen
about
A. Smith to
I'm
say
gonna
that?
get this check till they throw me out of this bitch. Fuck
But see,
that,
there's cats definitely in the league. You know what I'm saying? Looking at it like, man, this motherfucker. But like I said, it's preference.
You can
It's
look at my
preference.
bank account.
This is where I feel like it went a little weird. Like LeBron was in the third quarter when he played. He called a timeout. Literally, he saw Stephen A. Smith and he really approached him. Like he went there, was like, said what he said. Because I guess LeBron was on the Pat McAfee show and he was kind of talking about Stephen A. Smith, saying that he's just like Taylor Swift and just trying to be able to get clicks, likes, or whatever, right? So Stephen A. Smith went on the air on First Take and started saying that. I'm just trying to keep it real or keep it true. And if LeBron was about to square up with me, I would have fought him too or whatever.
He made a good point though when he said, the way he did it, he intentionally went over there because he knew I couldn't rebuttal him right there because he's in the middle of the game.
Nah, I ain't buying that. He said that because that's what the sucker would say because he knew he got his ass checked. If you a goddamn mad about y'all, I wouldn't give a fuck where we at. You take it to me on some shit like that, and I felt where I felt. Nigga,
come and get the smoke.
Ass right here on this fucking floor. You gonna get your ass whooped at your job, nigga. You at your job. I ain't finna fucking bow down at.
I feel you, but I'm just telling you what he said.
I'm chilling. I'm finna whoop your ass at your job. You come try to check me at your job. I'll beat your
motherfucking ass. Right.
Right.
What's weird is he's trying to like egg it on so he can continue to get. I mean, it's worth talking about because
that's what he's doing. Yeah,
I feel like they both are weird with how this whole thing went down.
Oh yeah, they do.
Hey, if I'm LeBron, I'm for sure protecting my son. If I had a son, definitely, I will say what I need to say. If I feel like he's being slandered, I'm gonna say something to somebody.
Yeah.
And to me, I think that goes, and Stephen A. is just trying to egg it on, continue to do what he do. They both weird with it. It was corny. It's weird. Like they should have just like, you know what? They're connected. He's right there. LeBron could have been like, look, man, hey, come to my locker after the game. You and I are gonna have something.
And that's what Stephen A. was saying that how it should have been handled. But of course, he's gonna say that because he did it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. He should have manned up. You seen the little clips of him practicing boxing? That's the reason why his ass is say shit. Yeah, if you seen clips of that nigga practicing boxing, he should learn to shut the fuck up. Is what he should do.
It just got goofy. Like it just
That
got
part.
goofy to the point where it's just kind of like, okay, y'all, are y'all seriously with this? I mean, come on, man. Like I get
I ain't
it.
mad
Like,
at it, and here's why. Because man, there's too many of these goddamn analysts fucking think that they can say whatever the fuck they want to say. They be talking to these people like, oh, well, he Bosch Spice, and and being disrespectful. So go ahead and
That's
let me be
right.
disrespectful at your job. I'm gonna call you a bitch in front of everybody and mark you out. Fuck you.
That's the thing. You are entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to your own response.
Right, man. They over here, they constantly do that shit. I think they go way too far with that shit, talking about people and saying how they feel. Oh, he's soft and this, that, and the third. They go way too far with the shit. Keep it to sports. You thought he
they
had a bad game, but they
they
go way too far.
Right.
And when you do that, you cannot be mad at somebody going, "Hey, I don't like how you portraying me, bro."
they
You can't
acting
even
like
do that.
they in the barbershop talking like we talked when we was up in there
Right,
doing
right,
whatever it is that we do, but
right.
they have a specific responsibility when the camera's on them to be able to keep it true. Like whatever game, if you like you said, V, if they have a bad game, say you have and why they had a bad game. They came off a back-to-back, or they was 1 for 14 shooting, or they just didn't have no gas left. Whatever it is that you gotta say. They've been in a slump, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, to me, they just and that's the commercialization of all this shit. Like everybody now want to be the man or the woman, and let me have the hottest of the hot takes so I can go ahead and go viral and be whatever. And to me, that's stupid. Like to me, make some sense of what you have, and then you're gonna have a strong enough following to be able to fuck with real ones. But instead, you want the jokers to be able to say whatever it is you want to say, and that's stupid. So
Exactly.
I gotta give him. I still gotta give him some kudos though, because as far as I know, he's the only one that has actually used his platform to address the political state that we're in right now.
that's fair.
I don't see anybody else.
That's fair, but he a little wishy washy to me, man. He an entertainer. He
You talk
ain't
about
for shit.
Steven?
It all depends on how many clicks he think it's gonna get.
We talk about Steven?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I agree with you. He's
wait a
wishy-washy.
minute. Wait a minute. Nah, and since for this reason, remember like during the during the voting and shit like that in November, he was like, well, I voted for Kamala because I was misinformed because everybody else told me XYZ or some shit like that or whatever. Like
I do remember something about that.
Why is a seasoned journalist who has literally every access to media you could have was misinformed?
That's a good point.
Right. Because that doesn't make any sense off top anyway.
He
So
he was always going to be low key Republican, though.
Your bad.
He was always going to be low key Republican.
Yeah.
You know damn well he is. You know damn well he is. He's just trying to keep his black support.
There you go.
You know damn well he is.
There you go.
Look where that nail at.
Let me tell you how I know. Any one of them motherfuckers that don't give a fuck about what niggas think when they say something that they ain't got no business saying and trying to speak for us, whenever they say shit like that, you know who you dealing with.
There you go.
You know who you dealing with. And there's quite a few motherfuckers feel like whenever they say something out of pocket or when they feel like speaking for black people in general, like, nigga, you's a sportscaster. You ain't Martin Luther King. Nigga.
That part.
Watch your fucking mouth.
You ain't got the skill set, know the
watch his
receipts.
mouth depending on what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? That everybody that needs to have some act right when it comes to the people in whole. And some of us really think that they've made enough money to say what the fuck they want to, and I don't agree with that.
Yep,
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, he took his platform to a weird space right now when it comes to shit like that. You're right. I mean, he has one. I feel like he's the superstar now. Like he could do no wrong. Motherfucker lost a little weight. You know, got a couple of nice suits. And now he wants to be who he wants to be now. Because to me, it's just kind of wild that he's in this situation right now. But that LeBron and Stephen A. shit was weird. It was corny. It was just fucking. It didn't make no sense. So it was too much, way too much. Hey, fellas, and Denia, and people out there, appreciate it. We got to do this again, but also we got to people. Y'all break bread with us. Y'all want after hours? Come fuck with us. Do it.
Come to the membership.
Do it later. Do it later. Do it later. Hey, anything that pops up in terms of news, we might have to go truth and conspiracy theory type shit like on a regular. So let's try to make that happen. And
I'm with
We
it.
have a lot of material for it.
Mhm.
and fellas, and deny, well, mostly you two, because you two have been three, I'm sorry, have been so knee deep into this since 07, 08. We need to actually have clips of old shit, and I
Mhm.
want you all to respond
Yep.
to the shit that you all said 10, 15 years ago.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah,
I love to do that.
Y'all ready for this?
we can do
I'm
that.
ready. I got y'all own receipts. So when y'all ready to do it, let's do it. I'm down. So
Hey,
Let's go.
hey, I just want to hear V's historical dragons. That's all I care about. Cause them was good.
The what? Which ones?
Man, V
I'm
was
ready.
so good at dragging people.
Hey, for real.
It was nothing to say.
I'm ready.
I just like, he got it.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Hey, y'all. Not only that, like, I just want to hear the moment, because I have it. I don't have it queued up, but I will have it for V. That moment when V was talking about, yo, when I'm doing the interview, I'm standing up looking in the mirror at myself while I'm actually talking to myself about everybody else.
Yeah,
That he said that.
Go on, tell your story. Go on, tell your story.
Hey, before we used to go out to the club, and we lived in the dorm, man. Our whole crew, we making all the tests to it if they was all here, but man, BB on the phone with his baby mama, man, cussing around, they be fighting and shit like that. Like, bro, it's time to go. Let's go. Hey, he in the mirror got the finger, man. He just laying out.
Just flexing too. Just flexing. When y'all hear it, and I want V to hear it, because I want V to hear himself. The way he said it was like he was so fired up about where he's at right now in that motherfucking mirror, saying whatever it is that he has to say. So I want all that shit to be ran literally with all the other stuff that we could talk about.
It's probably gonna be the first time I ever heard it. Real shit.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. So be ready for all that shit, and let's break bread, y'all. Like, seriously, let's do it.
Yep.
Hey, until the next time. We had y'all.
1000.